name of His exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and in the name of our divine reminder, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I bid you sisters, brothers, greetings, and greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. So as I, normally would say, like the Christians say, thank God for waking me up in my right mind, so that I was able to get up and take a breath today. I thank God for that I'm still alive and can still fight a battle or enjoy His creation. I thank the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for dedicating their life so that we might have a leader, teacher, and guide. And we might have a spiritual father. And I thank their families for the sacrifice they also made, that we might have that leader, and that teacher, and that guide. And I also thank Brother Herman Muhammad for asking me to speak today, that he would trust me with getting up here and sharing the word. But when I share the word, my prayer is that God speak through me.
Come on.
Not me to speak.
That's right.
So my prayer is that you get the word of God coming through me. I'm not God.
Go ahead, brother.
But you want the word of God coming through me, not me. So that is my prayer, that you can get something out of what I have to say today. And you see my subject matter, and I want to start from the Bible, Ecclesiastes. 3rd chapter says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love, and yes, there is a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace.
Sir.
But one thing we have to ask today, one question I want to pose to you is, what time is it?
Come on.
Now, in the Nation of Islam, rhetorically, we used to, when we heard that question, what time is it, we always holler, it's nation time.
That's right.
But I don't want to be rhetorical today. And I don't want you to respond rhetorically. When I ask what time it is, we have to know what time we're in. Because if we know what time it is, then we'll know what season it is.
Come on.
The Bible tells us there's a season and a reason for everything under the sun. But because we don't know the time or the season that we're living in, then we don't know what we should be doing.
All right.
Now, during the time of Dr. Martin Luther King, he was trying to love white people into submission. He tried embracing them. He tried having peace with them. But one thing he didn't understand. He didn't understand the beast he was dealing with.
That's right. Come on.
So even though he was trying to love them, maybe it wasn't time for that. He needed to know what season he was in and who he was dealing with. Now, today, we are killing each other and hating each other when we should be doing something else. It's not time for that. Early in the mid-1900s, it wasn't wise to talk. You can die behind talking. But now, it's not time to keep silent. Now it's the time to speak. But because we don't know the season, we as a people have been loving at the wrong time, hating at the wrong time, killing at the wrong time, and trying to build bridges and healing at the wrong time. So we need to synchronize our spiritual watches with the divine time, so that we will know the time and the season, and we will know what has to be done. For those who don't know, we have been and are still involved in a black Holocaust.
Okay.
But every time we hear that word Holocaust, what comes up in our mind is the Jews. Yes, they went through a Holocaust. They did. But during that time, there was more than just Jews that died.
All right.
Every time we talk about suffering, we hear Jews. But even black people will tell us when we start talking about the suffering of the black people. But the Jews suffered. Yes, they did. When we talk about the suffering of our Indian brothers, the so-called Indian brothers and sisters, they want to talk about the suffering of the Jews. Yes, they did suffer. But that what happened in Nazi Germany, that was white on white crime. We had nothing to do with that. Hitler was a white man. Did y'all know that?
Yes, sir.
That was white on white crime. Now, know this though. If one Jew died, that's too many. I'm not going to downplay their suffering. But one thing about it, too many of our people have died. And we don't have tears for everybody. We gotta shed enough tears for our own people. The suffering we've gone through. Now the Jewish Holocaust lasted 10 years. They say 6 million died. But there were 11 million, from what I understand, that died. And it wasn't just the Jews. Look at the rest. Polish, Soviet prisoners, the Gypsies, even Jehovah's Witnesses. All these are homosexuals. Anybody who might have been crippled, mentally or physically, were taken out because they added nothing to society. So they were taken out. Now one thing this chart does not show is black people.
Come on.
Black people all over the earth. If there were any black people in Germany at that time, they were killed too.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Now, the Honorable Muhammad teaches that for every 1,000 years that this white man has been on our planet, 100 million black people have died. Now, he's been here for 6,000 years. So when you do the math, that means 600 million black people have lost their lives under white rule.
Whoa.
Now, when you do the math, 6 million compared to 600 million, that's 100 to 1. Now, I know you're not saying that one black life, one Jewish life is worth more than 100 black lives. I know that's not what they're saying. And again, if they suffered, and they did, they should let people know about it. Because every year you'll find a lot of memorials and symposiums on the Jewish Holocaust. And they should tell people, because otherwise they're doomed to repeat it. All Jewish children are taught, from what I understand, about their past. But then shouldn't we tell our children about ours?
Come on.
Right. Yes, sir.
There are some of our our children, our youth in high school don't know that we were in slavery.
Yeah.
Now, they shouldn't tell us, they'll tell us we should forget about slavery. We should forget our past, but they're not forgetting theirs.
Come on.
And they shouldn't forget it. But if it was their loved ones, if it was your loved ones who were raped, burned at the stake, castrated, decapitated, you'd want people to remember that.
That's right.
You wouldn't want anybody to forget about it.
Come on.
So why are they telling us we should forget our past? But Jews don't forget theirs, and they shouldn't. But not only should we tell our youth about slavery, but we had a life before that. We need to tell them also about our great kings
Come on.
in Africa.
That's right.
Not only our great kings, we have some great queens as well.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that we don't forget ours. So if the Jews want us to forget our 600 million, why don't they forget their 6? They shouldn't forget theirs, but we shouldn't forget ours either.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Now, our problem, one president said at one time, I remember what president said. He said that the Jewish Holocaust was the worst tragedy in history. But, I say this, it's the worst tragedy on film.
That's right.
They didn't film our Holocaust.
Theirs was
Now, we want to deny our Holocaust. We, as our people, we want to deny it. Even though after slavery, we had things like the Tuskegee experiment.
Yes, sir.
Y'all know about that, right?
Yes, sir.
When they infected many, I forgot how many, black men with syphilis, and then allowed them to just, even when they found a cure for it, didn't tell them. didn't tell them what it was, and let them suffer, and most of them died, just so they could study the effects of syphilis on the people. At one time they were putting radiation in the milk they were giving black people. You don't know about that. One time they was giving genetically engineered food. You think GMO just came about?
Come on.
They've been doing that for years. Now, I don't know the drink of a choice for our people now. It used to be 40 ounces, right? Malt liquor. They were putting chemicals in the malt liquor because they knew it was your drink of choice.
Wow.
And they're killing us through our appetites. They're killing us with our food. They're killing us with the liquor. They're killing us with the drugs. They're killing us with sex. Because AIDS, it's not, you know, they say that some green monkey bit somebody in the backside, and that's how AIDS came about. But AIDS was developed in a lab in Fort Detrick, Maryland.
Sir.
It was first put in the intravenous drug user and gay community. But now, AIDS is killing black people in Africa by the millions. Every day. We went through COVID, and you don't hear much about AIDS anymore. But it's still killing black people, and the number one carrier of AIDS in the United States is black women. How did it become ours now? When it was theirs.
Come on.
There's a Holocaust. That, what they developed in that lab in Fort Detrick, Maryland, is chemical warfare.
That's right.
In New York, the New York City Sun Times, the New York, the City Times, whatever they call it, the City Sun, had an article at one time about putting microchip in a brother's head to control his behavior. You think that just happened to one? But we still want to deny Holocaust. History tells us of a slaver off the Guinea coast by the name of Christopher Columbus. His real name wasn't even Christopher Columbus. In Italian, it's Cristoforo Colombo. In Spanish, is Cristobal Colon. This is the man who started a migration of white people to these shores. He didn't even get to the mainland. He got to the islands. His people were killing black people. And then those who followed him, the Aztec, the Arawak, all of those who were in that area got that. Killed. All the riches taken from them because somebody was greedy. We had a devil that we were involved with. They murdered the Caribbeans. The Indians, the so-called Indians on this land were in the fertile land. They were planting and growing the crops and everything, living well. And all of a sudden they got pushed back. Most killed, but then pushed back on worthless land. You see the old cowboy movies and you see the Indians on top of the cliff in the desert, and as the white people trying to get to California and they're supposed to be shooting arrows at them and everything else. That wasn't their land. They were on the land in the east. The land where they can grow food. You can't grow anything in the desert. But they were pushed back in that land on what they call reservations.
Come on.
And even after they went and found some gold or some oil, when we started using oil, pushed them back more. Every time they found value, they pushed the Indians back on the land that was worthless. And then, even when the Indians were suffering out of the cold, the benevolent white people sent them blankets. Inside the blankets was smallpox. Come on, come on. They also spread syphilis through raping the women throughout the tribes. There's the Holocaust. Then when you throw in 100 million or more, it's an estimated 50 to 150 million. I went right down the middle, 100 million in the Middle Passage in the transatlantic slave trade. Most lost their lives on the trip here. Some will say, well, there's no way they can get 100 million people over here. Wasn't just here. Most of them went to South America.
Yes.
That's right.
So it's still black people taken from their land to a land that's not theirs. And even after the so-called slavery, there were still lynchings. So we still were going through a Holocaust.
All right.
Now, some who came in today might say, well, I thought I was going to hear a spiritual lecture. Yeah, but when we give a highly spiritual lecture, then somebody said, well, I didn't want to hear all that. I want to hear y'all talk about the white man. Then we talk about the white man, someone said, man, y'all racist. But if you understand what we teach, we're going to encompass all of that, along with how to eat to live, how to govern your house, how to govern your community. Also, if you're looking at the study guides that we're going through right now, you think you know the woman? You'll really learn what the woman is in God's eyes with studying what we're studying now in the study guides.
That's right.
Because you think you know, but you don't know. Trust me. Learn about the power and the majesty of that woman. We teach all of this in the Nation of Islam. But you can't get it all in one lecture. You can't get it all in one tape. You can't get it all in one meeting or one class, one study guide. You got to keep coming back. I've been here for 30 years or more. I'm still learning.
That's right. Come on.
So just keep coming back, keep learning. Because Master Prophet Muhammad gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the tools to handle all of black people's needs.
All right.
He gave us the knowledge and history of ourselves, the knowledge of God. He identified the devil. He taught us the science of business and the science of economics. He gave us an interpretation of scripture that could help us, lift us up. He gave us the wisdom on relationships, all in the spirit of nationalism. Because this is the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
Not the cult of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Not the organization of Islam. Not the club of Islam. But we are a nation.
That's right.
Operating inside another nation.
That's right.
So as Jews and white people are telling us to forget our past, God came to teach us about our past.
That's right.
How can we forget something we didn't even know? We had to be taught because that was taken away from us. Ever since white people have been on our planet, black people have been dying. We've died so much we used to die. Don't even faze us anymore. So when we talk about a black Holocaust, we don't really care about other people's problems. Not that we're not sensitive to somebody else's suffering, but we have enough of our own people to worry about. So when Jews march with King, Jews got a lot out of that. Black people still singing, we shall overcome. Shall, future.
Come on, come on, come on.
We just had something in Colorado Springs called Educating Children of Color. I heard on the news report that there was a successful educating children of color, and the focus was on the LGBTQ community. Wait a minute. You said educating children of color, but you're going to be teaching about gay and lesbianism. I'm not putting down on anybody, I'm not talking about that, but if you're going to educate children of color, educate the children about what they need to be educated on.
Right.
So even when we march, and the gay and lesbian community march with us, they get something out of it.
That's right.
We are still singing, we shall overcome.
Come on.
So everybody that march with us gets something, we still singing.
All right.
Now the invasion of Egypt that destroyed black civilizations led to the death of millions of people. In North Africa, that was taken from us and millions of people died. In Libya, in 1904 and 1907, the Kaiser Wilhelm killed 16 million. You understand what that number is? 16 million black people, one person. Now look at this. Look at the caption. Germany confronts the forgotten story of its other genocide. The African story behind the Holocaust. Germany's first concentration camps. We hear about the Jews in concentration camps and death camps, but you don't hear about our own.
That's right. Come on.
This happened 20, 25 years before the Germans did it to the Jews in Nazi Germany. They did it to South Africa.
All right.
But you don't hear about this.
Come on.
But we have a history. This was happening before it happened to the Jews. Look at this.
Right, right.
This is from the Holocaust in Africa. This is, he said, images of survivors. These are survivors of the genocide. This is what Germany did to Africa before they did it to the Jews, but you don't hear about it. See, we're in the Holocaust. Even King Leopold in the Congo. See, they even said, established Congo Free State by brutally seizing the African landmass as his personal possession. They just went and took it. King Leopold was so brutal that the League of Nations had to tell him to cool it. League of Nations said, y'all too barbaric for us, because if the people didn't bring in their rubber quota, they were cutting off women's breasts and castrating the men for not bringing in their rubber quota in their own land. And Cecil Rhodes, y'all know Cecil Rhodes?
Yes, sir. Cecil Rhodes.
For those who don't know Cecil Rhodes, he went into the Congo, killed 13 million black people, raped the land of the resources, the gold and the diamonds of the land. He became so rich that when he died, he left all that money in a trust fund so white folks can get educated. So white folks can go and get what's called a Rhodes Scholarship.
Rhodes Scholar. Yeah, there you go.
You know, Slicker Willie Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. Bill Clinton was educated from blood money from Africa. Now, someone said, well, black people get that too. Yeah, they got to keep it honest. They'll give it to a few. 9% of those who get a Rhodes Scholarship is black. 9%. When 100% of it came from black people.
All right.
So we're so used to dying, and you know, when we hear about a drive-by, we don't go in the streets and start protesting the drive-by. We just say,
Come on.
Yes, sir.
See, Black Lives Matter is a beautiful thing they started. It's been corrupted. The devil jumped right in there, and they corrupted it. But it is a beautiful thing, because black lives do matter. But like Dr. Wesley said, I heard him say on the tape, we in the Nation of Islam don't just say black lives matter, we say all black lives matter. All black lives matter. Not only the ones that are killed by white people, but the ones that are killed by us too.
That's right.
So, and then he even asked us, well, what are you Muslims doing? What are Muslims doing? Mr. Farrakhan went on a multi-city tour. It was called Stop the Killing Tour, which culminated with the Million Man March.
Right.
So, when he was going and asking to stop the killing, it wasn't just, he wasn't talking about white people killing us, he was talking about us killing us.
Yes.
Stop the killing. We've been working on that. We've had the Million Man March, Million Family March, Million Small Movement, Justice or Else. We've been talking about this, trying to convince those to stop the killing. Now even, like I said, we're so used to dying, it don't even faze us anymore. Many years ago, I was on a talk show, radio show in Colorado Springs with Sister P.M. Wynn. I don't know if those who might know her. And she, when I was on there, somebody called in and asked about, that's when that brother, I think his name is James Bird in Jasper, Texas, was, he was out drinking with his white buddies. He passed out. They tied him to the back of a truck and drove him through the city until all his body parts even fell off. You hang with your white friends. So now somebody called in and asked about that. Well, I kind of said a little something, and then I went on to the subject what I was trying to get to. A couple calls later, somebody else called in and said, but we want to talk about this, what happened in Jasper, Texas, And I didn't think about it until a few days later. Why were they so excited about talking about that? Why were they so shocked? I said, oh, I realize it. I wasn't shocked because that was just another lynching. I was angry, but I wasn't shocked. But white folks get shocked because, oh, you don't know about a lynching? That's what it was. But we die so much we're used to it. So we don't get shocked when we hear this. So how do you stop a Holocaust? We have to understand the time and the season. CNN won't help you understand. NBC won't help you understand. CBS or ABC won't help you understand. Definitely Fox News won't help you understand. Because they are the vanguards of this system of oppression. They play games with our people's information. And as long as we have a foul diet of information, we'll never move properly. In fact, if we move, we'll move against each other.
Right. Come on.
Now, the primary tool of oppression, of the oppressor, to continue black Holocaust is to destroy the black ancestral image.
All right.
Most of us, they want to make us think that we have never contributed anything to society or the history of the world.
That's right.
They make us hate ourselves. So even when they took us off the ship, y'all, if you don't remember, when they took us off the ship, they changed our names. In this movie, in the book, Roots, he got off, he said, my name is Kunta Kinte. They beat him almost to death until he said, my name is Toby.
Come on, that's right.
So when they took your name, they took your identity. If they caught you speaking your language, you were punished.
Yes, sir.
They took your language. When they took our drum, they took our culture.
Come on.
When they took away the clothes, our ceremonial clothes, they took away our folkways. They gave us pork to eat, and they didn't even give us the good pork.
Come on.
Yeah, because you ever heard like white folks eat high up on the hog? You ever heard that terminology?
Yes, sir.
That means the leaner parts of the hog is at the top.
That's right.
But we ate low on the hog. We ate what? The feet, the hops, the guts, the tails, you know, the snout. See, that's what they gave us to eat. But our sisters who had such a great imagination, so they could just make magic to make all that garbage taste good. But that was slave food back then. They call it soul food today. One of the number one killers of black people is soul food.
Come on.
That's right.
Kill him.
If we were caught telling old African stories, you were beaten or even killed, because with those stories, that was our history. They took our history. So we had to develop slave songs to get our messages across. We had a song that's called "Wade in the Water."
Yes, sir.
We're giving everybody a bit of information. If you want to run, you can't outrun those horses and those dogs. But if you get to a stream, wade in the water, because God's going to trouble the water, which means the dogs can't follow your scent through the water. So wade in the water. They'll tell you, had a song, "Follow the drinking gourd." What is the drinking gourd? That's the Big Dipper in the sky. In the Big Dipper is the North Star. You follow that North Star, you go into freedom, north. They'll tell you, "Swing low, sweet chariot. Coming to carry me where?"
Home.
Why home? Because you know you weren't at home.
That's right.
You can't be at home being treated this bad. There's got to be somewhere else that's home. And what was that chariot? That was the Underground Railroad. They were giving you messages in the songs. If you ever said Allahu Akbar, you were killed right immediately, instantly. Because you cannot mention the word of God. See, we believe in one God, one master. The white man told you to call him master.
That's right.
So he became your God. So, when they took away our name, our language, our culture, our folkways, our God, our religion, our history, they took away the knowledge of self and destroyed the chance of us to ever come together as a people. They made us hate ourselves. They made us hate the way we look. We started processing our hair to make us look more European. Even now, I think one of the number one leading cosmetics in some countries in Africa and in the Caribbean is bleaching cream.
That's right.
That's right.
Come on. So we're still in the Holocaust.
Oh,
But of course, some of you already know this because you're here. You already have some, a bit of what they was, I'd say, woke, and hopefully be a little more woke today.
Yes, sir.
I had a sister one time told me, when we were talking, "I don't want to hear all that nigger mess." Really?
Think about it.
Have what I've been teaching is nigger mess? I don't like to use that word, but that's what she said. Is that what we think it is? I've heard many times when I've gone to some of our own people with the Final Call newspaper, "Man, I don't want to hear all that black stuff." Really? See, that's why Allah won't give me no power. If I had the power to throw a fight up on them, I don't want to hear that black stuff. I'll fire them up. I wouldn't kill them. I just
All right.
So if our people are feeling pain and we express it in a way, you can't tell us to tone it down. We feel the pain.
Yes, sir.
Then they say we have this rhetoric, and then they want to take us off social media because they don't like what we say.
Don't like the truth.
The primary tool of the oppressor to continue the black Holocaust is destroy the black ancestral image and history, mostly through the media. How do they do it? They use us. They use our entertainers. They use our sports figures. At one time back, I think it was an ESPN magazine when Mike Ditka was the coach of the Saints and Ricky Williams came out of Texas. So, you know, all of you might remember.
Yeah.
When Ricky Williams came out of Texas, the number one prospect in football, they had Mike Ditka dressed up in this is on the front page, dressed up in a tuxedo. Ricky Williams standing next to him in a wedding gown. I know what they were trying to say, but what does that image say? They want to destroy that image. They'll use people like Martin Lawrence. They'll use Lil Nas and Flavor Flav. They'll use these to project an image. Even in commercials now, it's hard pressed. I'm looking at it. It's hard pressed to see a black man and black woman together in the commercial now. You'll see the black woman with a white man. Also, if you saw any commercial with an AIDS medication, it's black and brown you see.
Come on.
Once in a while you might see one white, but you know, and all the rest of the black ones. Also, the last couple of commercials, to me, was kind of sickening. At the end, now they're talking about medication, supposedly.
Yes, sir.
But then they show two black men gazing in each other's eyes lovingly, and then they lean over and kiss each other. Two Negroes got beards, kissing on each other. But we know that that's one of their plans too. A lot of them don't know, but that was given to them. They wasn't born that way.
They sure wasn't.
And I don't have time to go through all of that right now because I'm pushed for time. But put them all together. The latest one of the latest attacks is attack on the woman. So I know for a while now, you know, black people have been playing the dozens. Y'all know what the dozens is, right?
Yes, sir.
Not time to go into where it came from. It's a slave term. But we'll talk about your mama, right?
Yes, sir.
Your mama's so fat, she got to grease a tub to turn over. Your mom's so black, she spit Bosco. You know, your mom's so ugly. You know, but we hear this and we don't stand up against that. Mainly because it is funny, and most of us have our own favorite Yo Mama jokes.
Right.
Yeah, I do too. But we don't fight against it, we join in. But if somebody steps on our shoes or get a little too close to our car, we'll kill them.
That's right.
The destruction of the black image. And if we allow this to destroy, we allow them to destroy the image of our mother, our wives, and our daughters, then we won't fight against anything. We'll never move forward because the woman is life itself. Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad says the nation can rise no higher than this woman.
That's right.
We're the only people in the world who let athletes and entertainers be our spokespersons. Michael Jordan is a spokesperson. He's getting a little old now. So as he starts losing his appeal, Shaq steps in. Half of the commercials you see on TV now got Shaq in them.
That's right.
But when Shaq starts losing his appeal, there'll be another to stand in his place. There's always somebody to stand in the place to destroy that ancestral image. At one time, lately I've seen black people singing for a hamburger. At one time they had MC Hammer dancing for a piece of chicken.
Come on.
The destruction of the black image, it fuels the negativity that our children feel in themselves. Now, the media has us so crazy. I think I looked it up to see if it was still going on. And far as I can see, when I Googled it, for whatever good Google is, they're still doing it in Florida, giving people $20 or a pair of sneakers to turn in their guns. guns for money, guns for sneakers. Now, but the people who turn in guns, they're not killing black people. I want to see them go to the skinhead and Aryan Nation and the Mafia and the Ku Klux Klan, go pick up their guns, give them some tennis shoes for some guns,
Come on.
and see what happens. And we allow them to make film after film showing graphic murder of brother on brother. Will that video show our sisters naked, bent over, rolling around on the floor, grinding like dogs in heat? That's not the way they are. So why do we allow it? Because we don't have God and self at the core of our being. But we have to be patient with our people.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Anybody can find their way back home.
That's right.
All they need is an identity. OJ can even come back home.
Come on.
We'll take him back.
That's right.
Now, we know that at one time, we questioned Mike. Look at the way he's dressed. At the end there. Look at the way that brother's dressed right now.
Those.
All this is in the FOI uniform with some bling on it.
Come on.
This brother, military,
Yes, sir.
he's telling you right there, it's a soldier. He's a soldier.
That's right.
Because at the end, he had a conversation with Minister Farrakhan. With many, but towards the end, he had a conversation. Minister Farrakhan shared with us that he had a conversation and said all the things they're doing. The minister said, "Brother, put it in your song, because people are listening to your song. Put it in your song." Then he came out with a song that says, "They don't really care about us."
That's right. Go ahead.
Check the lyrics of that song and see what he's saying. See, we need to organize. Because the average brother, if he loses 3 paychecks, he loses everything. He loses his house, he loses his car, he loses everything if he miss 3 paychecks.
Yes, sir.
Then if we know this, we need to come up with some credit unions. If we have people starving, we need to have some food banks.
Yes,
Where are our food banks?
That's right.
But we in the nation have farmland. I'm still, eating on some food that we got from the farmland.
Come on.
Sister Joyce in Colorado Springs, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times a year, she organizes and orders for all of us from our farmland. And we're going to get some more.
That's right.
Not just what we have, we're going to get more. Because we will have to be able to feed our people, not just Muslims. We're going to have to feed all of our people.
That's right.
We must control our neighborhoods. We must control our schools. Don't let them tell our children that they can't do mathematics. Have you ever seen some of our little brothers and sisters dribbling that basketball off through and then shoot, right? Now what are they doing? They have to estimate a distance, estimate a trajectory. We're talking high calculus here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then put a sphere into a hoop that's a little bigger than the sphere itself.
Go
and
ahead.
when they do that, 50% or more of the time, they're perfect. Have you ever seen the little sister with the double dutch?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The timing involved with that?
Yes, sir.
You can't tell our people they don't know mathematics or they can't do mathematics. We are mathematics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a
That's
mathematical
right.
computation with your body.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Good teacher, sir. Good teacher. Good teacher.
So we got to build everything.
Wow.
Because really, with those who are in the room right now, we may have enough brain power and skill level in this room right now to build the building we planning to build.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All we have to do is get us together, unified. We might have enough skill in this room to build that building.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Finally, in order to have a nation, we have to have an internal police force in the military.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Already got it.
We got that.
Yes, sir.
Right, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go to cut. Ready on salute. Ready, come.
Yes.
Military.
Yes, sir.
As you were.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have that.
I like that.
Now, I know we've always heard in church, we have to study war no more. better study war.
You better study war.
So we can know what the enemy is planning.
Yes, sir.
And what the enemy is doing.
Yes, sir.
Because we say study war no more, and white folks saying,
We've been studying that for
I say, praise the Lord, pass the ammunition.
Yes, sir. That's good. That's good.
Food. The food they feed us and what they put in the food is warfare.
Yes.
Chemical warfare.
Yes, sir.
Business is warfare.
Yes, sir.
Religion is warfare.
Yes, sir.
The health care, the medicines they give us is warfare.
That's
You
right.
think that shot they're giving you for COVID
Oh, Lord have mercy.
is legit? That's warfare.
Yes, sir. Come on. Yes, sir.
Alcohol, drugs, warfare.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Talking about study war no more, you better study war.
Yes, sir.
That's
a good teacher.
But how can we do all of this? You can all learn all this in the Nation of Islam.
Sir King.
Because the Nation of Islam gives you the program and the format to digest information and use it to develop strategies and tactics to counter those of the enemy. I want to say it again. The Nation of Islam gives you the program and the format to digest information and use it to develop strategies and tactics to counter those of the enemy.
Yes, sir.
So when we ask, what time is it?
Nation time.
Nation.
When you say nation time now, it's not rhetoric.
No, sir. No, sir.
Can't be rhetoric. You got to know what time it is and what has to be done. So, with that, I pray that something I said taught you something today.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you already knew it, maybe it's a reminder.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't know it, now you know something. I pray that what I said can help you in your life, help you with the knowledge, because as you get knowledge, you get better.
Yes, sir.
So I pray that what you heard was the word of God
Yes, sir.
coming through me. So when we ask again, what time is it? When we say nation time, we know what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
So, with that, I leave you as I greeted you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
It's your brother Herman Supreme Style Muhammad. Just wanted to drop in and let you know what we have going on. In addition to our community work that we've been doing for years, and in addition to being the sole proprietor of Supreme Style Barbershop, where we've been serving the community for close to 25 years, now we've partnered up with an insurance company called Ethos in an effort to help our people with life insurance. That's something that we all need. I know it's something that we don't want to think about, but it is something that we all need if we want to leave anything to our loved ones when we leave this space. So do me a favor, click on the link or go to our website astar2.com and click on the Ethos page. We'll see you on the other side.